Hey guys, I'm trying to keep my phone from sliding here. I've actually had to order a new stand. I got a new phone and I had to order a new stand because the stands that I have that I've always used for video are not going to work with the new phone. They're actually too small. So, I went on tonight and I ordered a new stand. It's not here yet, but I wanted to come on and I wanted to say hello, and I wanted to kind of answer some of your questions, especially some of you that have already got the newsletter. I did send it out tonight. I'm here by myself, and I wanted to get it sent out so all of you had it for the beginning of the year and could start thinking about what your goals were going to be and maybe some of the things that you could stock up on because, you know, as I posted earlier, right now there are a lot of nuts for sale in the stores. There's also hard candy and things like that if you use it. And if you're doing any kind of MREs or emergency food, you know you need something sweet in with that. So now is definitely the time to stock up. I know that at least where I live here in Indiana, the sales were not very good. They were 30 to 50% off. And I prefer to wait until they go 75 to 90% off. But you do got to kind of keep an eye so you don't, wait too long and totally miss out. But I wanted to get that out there. And I also wanted to give you some ideas. So if you want to start tomorrow and you want to make the vegetable soup, please pressure can it. Please do not try to cold pack anything that says that it needs pressure canned because it's not safe to do so. You can freeze items that, you could make the vegetable soup and you could put it in containers and you could freeze it. You can use freezer containers. You can use the glass bowl jars. Do not use the metal lids. Use the plastic lids that you can get for the bowl jars. But if you're going to use glass, I normally use the 2-gallon zipper bags that we don't have the Ziploc brand here, but we have some off brands that we can get, and we can also get the Glad. So use those and put your jars inside of that. A 2-gallon bag will hold 2 half-gallon canning jars. So, because that's how I freeze my goat milk, is in the half-gallon jars. And then I drop them inside of the Ziploc bag. And I put them on the very bottom of my chest freezer. So that way they stay cold. And also they don't tip over and take a chance of breaking. But if the jar would explode, because we all know things do happen, at least the mess would hopefully be inside of that bag. It would freeze, and then you could just remove the bag and dispose of it without having a big mess to clean up, because definitely trying to get in the bottom of a chest freezer and clean is not fun. So anyway, if you chose to, you could make the vegetable soup tomorrow, and then you could make the beef broth, and then you could make the bone broth, and you're going to be looking at, now let me think here. I think they make 7 quarts and 14 pints a piece. So look at all of that food that you could have sitting in your pantry within 3 days' time. And I know it's a lot of work to do this. And if you're using a crock pot, you might want to let your bone broth cook for a couple of days, to where if you're using an Instant Pot, it's going to be ready very, very quickly. I don't remember the time on that right offhand, but I know it did not take long at all. So it just depends on how you want to do that. When you make the vegetable broth or the vegetable soup and the beef stew, they're delicious. They really are. And those are good foods to put in your pantry for lunches if you put them in the little pint jars, or for suppers if you put them in the quarts. Now, there are 2 of us, and when we open a quart of beef stew, we end up eating the whole thing ourselves. So, it depends on how much your family eats. I do not have any canning recipes for the larger jars because Ball has not put them out. And I always use the Ball recipes. I'm going to show you the book I recommend. This is my go-to book. Okay. I always buy the new Ball books, the Ball Blue books when they come out. But this is the book that I go to all the time. It is available on Amazon. I think that's where I actually got mine. I don't think I could find it locally, so I think I ordered it. And it has so many wonderful recipes. And like I said, if you're canning, this is what you want to do. You want to be safe. I also want to encourage you, if you have seeds saved, and if there are cold weather varieties like lettuce, kale, carrots, you can go out tomorrow, as long as there's not heavy snow on the ground where you are, and as long as you've already turned your soil. Don't try to turn your soil if it's wet, especially if you live someplace where there's clay soil, because it will just make a disaster of your garden. So anyway, you can go out tomorrow and you can sprinkle those seeds on the ground and they will germinate. I want to encourage you to use some kind of cover on top of this. Frost cover. Make yourself a cold frame with plastic. I don't care if you take a couple tomato cages and you put them in the ground and you drape that plastic, and then you put some wood or some brick around the bottom to hold it down. You need some kind of cover, because if you don't, the birds and the other wild critters that eat seeds will get into that. You do need to keep an eye on it to make sure it doesn't need water, because believe it or not, even if it is really cold outside, underneath of a piece of 6 mil plastic, it can get hot enough to dry that ground out, and that will kill all of your germinated plants. So, I also included some links in the file for how you can start carrot seed indoor using used toilet paper rolls. And the reason I do this is because, as you know, carrots grow long. And those little peat pots just do not work well for any length of time for indoor growing. So I start mine in the toilet paper rolls, and then I transplant the whole thing into the garden, because that toilet paper roll is just going to decompose, put some organic matter in your soil, and it's not a big deal. I'm also going to go over later this month how to dehydrate potatoes and how to use those dehydrated potatoes. Now, you do have to blanch the potatoes, and believe me, you don't want to not blanch the potatoes. I've done that. That was a big mistake. They are very starchy, and they just are not very good. So I had noticed when I was at Walmart the other night that they had 10-pound bags of potatoes for $1.49 a bag. Now, these were not organic potatoes. These were just conventional potatoes. But still, that is a really good deal. You can scrub those potatoes and get off as much as you can. Slice them up. I don't peel my potatoes. I just slice them up, and I blanch them, and I put them in the dehydrator, and I dehydrate them. And this is the same thing that you're buying when you buy a gratin potatoes in the box or scalloped potatoes in the box. That's really all that is. And some cheese sauce to go with it. And maybe a little seasoning mixed in. You could buy powdered cheese. You can go on Amazon and buy powdered cheese. And you can make your own convenience meals. And I am going to show you this later this month. But like I said, I just wanted to hop on. I want to encourage you guys to get in your mind. Feel free to post it in the group. What kind of things are you interested in doing in 2019 to be more self-sufficient? You know, what are your personal goals? I want to hear those. I want to hear from you. I see that I have another comment, and I will get to that comment in just a minute. I'm actually going to type out the reply. But if you guys have any questions at all on the newsletter or anything I posted in the group, please feel free to leave it in there. I've left you a lot of links, a lot of videos, and I also left a link to my organic gardening e-course that I have. I want to give you a little tip. Sometime about mid-January, I'm going to increase the price of that course from $29.95 to $49.95. So if you're thinking about it, definitely grab it. And if you're wondering what that noise is, that is Charlie. Come here, Charlie. Come here. Come up here. Come on. Okay. Charlie gets a little upset when I get on video because he's not getting all of the attention. And so he does this. He gets on the floor on his back and he just rolls around and makes noise. And this is Blackie up here behind me. As you can see, they really like attention. So anyway, guys, I hope all of you have a safe and happy new year. I want to thank those of you that have been watching. And like I said, leave some comments in the group or questions for me. I'm very happy to answer those. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.